Mejo so.
Bibi aboko de.
Atumpan.
Twini akasa.
Atumpan. Bonohene unfeme.
Oh mafio.
Mate.
Mafio pa.
Ene me ni wetie fo nyina na ye cho.
Ma mentimi hwe wani mti amehwe nchen no.
Oh I'm your auntie. Chia usro kwema wa fisha pane wo crofo nyina. The Asaase family. Yes, it's good to be here.
Eno me kosen yo.
Oh, eno me koye pa nyame din mu. Say yeah, said okay, 45 days to the goalpost. Into eno me koye. Em say wiki mu no. Say wo hwe from Accra. I followed Honorable Kennedy Agyapong to do Accra.
Okay.
Now wo hwe feedback, euphoria, any nija. I say there is the rekindling of excitement at our party in the mubio. And there is hope. That gives me hope. Say amanyoku no internally no say ye to 2 year nyoma ye na after 45 days he emerges. I'm sure we have a chance to regroup, rekindle and recapture.
Right, you be party nkomo pa but you some other national issues in Emra NPP muna ye nin komo. We di abebom Adam Kumane say NDC are buying 10 million Ghana cedis. Old currency here 100 billion. Dia some Jamaica from Afa Honzua say ho and you know ye de support Jamaica for. Critics say no my Ghana ye was say sikano and the come dia manfo a sebi adwuma for krenti mi fa bi adwuma ni ekukuru say sikano e dia koma manfo bi si boko nto kwasi ho ye ntimi si esi ho nwie binyiri e bi si ho sampa ye tututu na he was says kanwa adenti ye mfa emmo ye ho bra woti ye to saying
ye no credit dedi kai be chetie for ahwefo ene ye party mpanifo nyina ye chia ye Kennedy ni team ne adwuma pa wo mo ye nim say next week ya ombeko asante musunti ye chia otikoko so de wo kan on say etwa me matena mrahye bedwam 8 years into nsam bi basa na wo ka Committee of International Nations ya nyina ye ko UN ye ko AU ye ko ECOWAS
Foreign Affairs Committee
I wasn't part of the Foreign Affairs, but being a part of the global family no na we no twa so be kaya ya bakosem yewura atamels nyame fa ne crazy Haiti actually ntem say ebaye no odi bibi kakra ko ekoboaye na ye aso ye papa akofado actually ntem ebaye odi bi ko na we no so aba na we na ye Jamaica, Cuba, and Sudan. But ye no as a nation, ye dey say ye be try adoye na sanke bi echichemu mienu a say ke bi 10 now the 5 akobo nadmo now the 5 kwa, because you still have to play your role as a member of the international community. But at the same time no so no until am kase sika no say twa won't mean kase oh ya isolationist so maybe mami club won ka ho yes na you become an isolated nation. But as a Ghana no we are gradually emerging as the powerhouse for Africa. Ye lidi na other Africans country no ediechi nti ye adoye ne sana at the same time so say ye bu nkompo na ye hwefi nti we na aba no ye besre aban say bronye ebe at the same time na ye hwe Jamaica ye hwe Sudan ye hwe Cuba no na ye hwe haso bebre from a jaya a she was circle no we still have victims who are still struggling. Yes, until you have to balance it. Now, critic ne de ebeba isan say me wo the Republic of Ghana na me nya sa ahoto no me hu say what they cause naturally it's human ebeye me yaba to put it in perspective no say ye wa ha nya mempengu na say tsunami Ghana, the rest of the United Nations they are obliged to support.
But that disaster EBC Ghana.
How do we react? Exactly. Na make us a second or see twa and twa. The oma ye betu aka say oh much less Ghana ye isolated nation obi asam to na ehia enemum ye nhwe fie so nti nka 10 ni ayen 55 eno no unsa wo ka ha benya bi aka say oh ye ramahama wa ya de enu echi ye nuan me wo karaga boko ekopie Cote d'Ivoire no ya hwe edo ma be fie ya settle wo mo ena ye nuanom say wo Jamaica ya hwe kakra nti say na enim no ase ba me wo fie no kom de me na me nua omo ye nuanom because we have slave history now. Jamaica and Cuba, they are descendants from the transatlantic slave trade. To some extent, when I say an extended arm, but say, as much as we are not supposed to be extremely happy with what they have done, no, but see, you say a part of our obligation. Name shifie na share no so kan. Sana me pesa me balance. I say King Solomon in Chakola.
Because we are bad time na one word yane. A commodore ma. Was a metrebiana kukuru. Me de kwa bontin so. Akoma bontin so for
a hono na me chire mu senka 10 no. Enke susu say we yekọ. Nti e be ya. Se bronye ya fe ne be hyase. Nti ye ka say afidie du akire pa. So to avoid the crestfallen feeling, be as an me tiana ade ja hye me besi ne na me nua o Jamaica ye me nua de na ono anya bi na ne nka ban 10 twa ba akoso tum wa he na nadmo especially to resource nadmo and to also resettle omo asebe ensemi ato omo koye immigrants obi man so na se omo to mi sign ba wo ye ne sa na criticism no na aye balance, but I wanted to put it on record say sa adoye no the first time. I didn't know politics na a comedy at the same time you balance it with your international obligations.
And where your diplomacy?
That's all. But I'll say fear and na much say mean to me so in our so but won't so emungu inti aban when ya hwe anuanoma e won nsuo echi a Hurricane Melissa nke ye tu Jamaica nyina akoi ye besrew say na etwa echi e na hwe Pandai na hwe Karaga na hwe Savannah na hwe Bindiri na hwe Esuro na sai brankran besi ne omu a eja hye wo mu ewo circle hono ye will be no da ho ofia still they are not settled.
Right, quickly
you have to balance it.
Area Supreme Court ruling in a bar recently. High Court, Tamale High Court take decisions and can rerun our Pandai. Supreme Court na babontin say omu hold on na ye ni asem no enwie what no my image with the fee paying. Yen starting free ruling a free High Court no buy na yen hwe speaker through the clerk and amuntu 2 year tro krata de koma yi si so mo koye rerun na ne kwan so anu no ana
say ho kakra ne de omo pepre ho no kraye ba ko pe san say lower court asama kana yira nyindam so no wa Supreme Court e de na sem
of execution
exactly inti na onya response bia inti I am say clerk epepre ho cause me kai pass me kai say me follow me hu say you speaker ka say sa yi won so inti either say decision bia ko so a enye ono ne pe and I say ye chinchim ne sa e ho de mean to me but I read and I remember clearly from Speaker of Parliament saying, says, Hasemi, on so city behind where you declare vacant. And then a week or two later, when a Beniza Jitra, Kratana, easy for us also. Into Supreme Court, no, it's the most supreme court of the land, the apex of our courts. Into Omono, Enyasha Semua, or see Nyabutre, na ye train, na ye tie. Na city and this mwenya bebre na baku na manyanka hwa enti yesre also there's peace in our nation, there is peace in this country enti enoma bi wo ya wo ya na afi de erodi goodwill binti o se nya abotre twen the verdict of the Supreme Court and only the final decision say no ba that's the Supreme Court if you should not say after 3,000 margin still yanko run it there then
41 polling stations
we have no other option. Said the Ekoya Blikuma North, said the Ekoya Yakwetie, and then we will marshal our forces and go because we have to obey the law of the land. But until then, dear, Namfi says, 30 decision, dear, na yejuram kakra.
Then a Bebama High Court na take that decision. Judge and be take that decision. Say, me the massa maba may complain of 41 polling stations. Judge said there be Monkwana Monkotuni nyina foforo. That of a bronye ish case. Judge Okotana so what the animal farm. Emwa nyina be hwan na bi so chen bi no dey ruling then be ba judge for be take that decision.
I've done my LLB, so you have to have discretion when you follow some of these things in court. It is in the bosom of the judge. He is seated and it is his decision, and so we have to respect that. Into the Supreme Court war,
but not in a vacuum.
Yes, into the war appeals court, into the war Supreme Court, and a yen dam wako Supreme Court, into where the error is in concern the institutional bodies na erashi and come so much and out of respect wait for the decision of the Supreme Court. And nuntina in the wisdom of the mpanimfoɔ a yeyi wɔn apa wɔn sɛ wɔn nyɛ Supreme Court judges I decide say yɛnkɔ hold, and you have noticed that there's calm. Obia eniwa obu saa embra no so nti yɛbɛtwɛn Supreme Court ni decision ba ɛno no ɛna yɛn in this side na yenua nyindam na semi abe na you decide, then you strategize quickly because you cannot fight the Supreme Court's ruling. So you have to either we are going for a rerun of the polling stations affected or we do the whole thing. But there are precedents in this whole electoral process. East Legon here ya was west amo oni Mama Rebecca konkon was 4 years Mami Chani 4 years. There are precedents and the parliament can make its own decision say ya mo de abayase, so we will decide. No Chani 4 years no amo what 2 deaths nti panda ya meka ho decision baby and a no majority into me take. You know, there will be some kind of give and take and consensus be, but I think we all have to hold our breath. Therefore, the apex court of the land. Then we do consensus. Eminent persons in this country. We have the clergy, we have imam, we have senior citizens. I want to pay you know. Panel be say, Ajubro. Bakwi wakwaka ho a decision bia ni wa mo betake 88 abebrom so nti muntwa so, but that will come not out of our mouths in this radio station that may come for the sake of our peace that we are enjoying. Imagine 30th adechia na 2005 eko 2025 asa ni akoto aba na ankode obi pe na de basabasa ye. I mean, this is Ghana. And we are receiving a lot of guests talking of tourism. Enipa ba eba, nebeti say jatom wakandai. There are some for 1 seat. It doesn't, it doesn't jive with our ascendancy in the leadership of Africa, the safest country, the peaceful nation. Ni akokun 1 seat. In the wisdom of Supreme Court they could decide in March, in April.
Yeah, legal system. I mean, there's also legal system that was saying.
There are a lot that can be changed. A lot. There are a lot of laws that are archaic, out of sync, but it will take Parliament. Also, it will take Parliament to me pass a time my office now. Museums and Monuments Board. We are still using NRCD 1971-74. We have a lot of laws that are archaic, but it will require Parliament to have that willpower to amend a lot of these obsolete laws.
In your opinion, I'm running now who say Chemuaya kick say yes, a bit me.
A few of them. Decentralization is really a challenge. If you say no, say the Nicol Local Government Act now, I think there's a lot we can do there. How to decentralize even the financial backbone of the districts, how to empower them. They can do municipal bonds. They can have a lot of ways to raise money locally by Mrano and Masakwa. So we have a lot of things. They say 2025 or Chinechi 2026. Yeah. We are still dependent on the colonial model. I would say at Tiwa East Assembly or so chain. Now say good this Accra why a formula or parliament norm the kitwe bi abrel. Meanwhile, within that enclave, I just chose a constituency that you can
IGF be everywhere.
Thank you. And not just IGF, you can go for municipal bond, but you need the law to back it. You can raise local funding for projects. Juma bebaho. Nantina me makamadri politics in here. You enter me support. He's pragmatic. Let's decentralize even industry. Now empower local governance structure. No, imrano. We can change that. And that's just one example. But we have a lot of old laws. Yes, sana. Even tax collection, financial model. Nankasana. And what? Yeah. What from? When him say assemblyman, unit committee, allowance token nearby. It shouldn't come from central government. It should be raised from a form one to motivate them. These are all things that can be done to help Ghana.
Where you be become you be come up proper. my titi samanfo bi asofofo bi no mahemfo bi no I started Tetem bid for Mampayin John Dramani Mahama. Meaning say what be what here to say as former minister?
Emrane, very simple. Article 66, clause 2. Very clear. Ghana, Yemrana ye 92, April 93, promulgated no Yensisano. 2 terms, either conservative or one pause, as we have an example of a president which sa so Beka Emanayi too. So the law is very clear. And a majority no mwenyano, knowing the fabric of Ghana no, woman to be any referendum. MSS adwin say yen to say Watara, and I yen to say Mali. Ghana.
But amendment, what happens?
No, amendment cannot take it. This is
referendum.
An entrenched clause.
Okay.
So you have to go for referendum. And the Ghana forces, yeah, baby, after 32 years, we are not going back to chaos. Into a no emfa. And then Committee said the general secretary of the party, Ira Fifikwete, came out and made a very bold statement to say they are not entertaining that. And the Ira president Nanka says, "Oh, Yamana Baso, AU chair, Wajama Ghana, congratulations, Mr. President." One kasa ejina simpi so akase onko. But it's a sentiment bia ebinume peja Ghana yenso so. It's a 2-term limit, and it's in the constitution, and it is entrenched. Wopa BA, Article 66(2). You will go for 2 terms, and that's it. Abai biano, which are 8 years no cry. It's psychologically Ghana no enye law, but we have this norm. I say amamre. Nti we trying to na yewra mahama bekufi. Na ye jan quite come out with a good legacy. Wabe AU chair, waye ECOWAS, waye eminent person. No, abe a former president. Abeka ye rakufado. Abeka ye rakufon. Na watina etufo. Na we jack and tokwadon. Ama ne chief war. Na omudi abe si eni. Na omuni ye rakenedi afeso. Na ye kama. Na just say one maybe Ghana no it won't be a taboo, but it will be an anomaly. Because this constitution is entrenched. Okay, say yes, thank you. Beto MC Sufwaba. Kaya boy, round say koye. Who's a Ghana for kase yempe. Cause a BSC pen 1979. So kaya na Ghana ye koye finance minister Gina ho eridi budget. It was rejected. That's because they didn't have that 50% clause. Now 50% of the executive must come from parliament. They chose to reject it. And on the COFA 1980 when you know the history and the fabric of Ghana, entertaining after 2028 December. And ye Jan quite come. None the legacy now intact. Na se Fifikwete num na eba se Yera ase du nkete no Julius num na eba na omo de Kennedy asia na ye koyenim basa omumre bi look at what happened in Ivory Coast. I was there 2010 2012 because they changed the constitution to allow another term for a leader. Nti hanu you krom no yet ye ho ase ye nsoso. The tapestry of Ghana is so good. We are doing well. When you tire konya kese so when you twa mfie nwotwe no onubody technically when you 6 months efi yerata mills dey no. So he's the unique president who has got 8 years plus 6 months. No onko fie like kofie, but obeyi ne ho afiri mu with a dignified legacy.
Right, Medas, I feel like me pacho ha a community 103.3 strong 101.5 for Achimoda. I feel my radio 103.3 Wokofodia, Mining City Radio 89.5 for Takwa, Asaase 100.3 for Cape Coast, Asaase 99.7 for Tamale, Asaase 98.5 for Kumasi, Ahonyina no TNK, and we quickly share the fight against illegal mining. Adia Bakoa, NDC are buying the Gina so ball, MPP are buying cheaper ma. Ghana phobia to to madwene mu a ye se da bi MPP aban ye the MPP aban ko home na NDC aban emeto aso galamsey illegal mining and the promises be bri by afini ye to abawie no afini 12 months ni meboa so far okono uhune sayin
it's tepid to say you know, me fi galamsey community. It's a national phenomenon. Wo baby na unim the antidote is unemployment.
Okay.
So wofi baby say be mrantie ewie school enye adwuma. I will give you a testimony. I met a young man away TTU. Na wako site na wako pra na ehɔ no obi so ye ne dia na wo mo achi wo mo na ya frame me e wo police station MP adwuma yi to fun adaka na wo police station na wo beli nipa na wo ware obi third wife ma no me ko police station ehwe mrantie na abrantie me ka na se me wo kro bi chefo akoso no we wie school a che say wo pa adwuma na ahokyere kakra e ba ye nti na okoka ho e na omo ye raid no omo de ne ka ho ti me call do me interview omo nyina na say you look like sabe obi a ukra di break kakra no so school na mawie na ja
me ni adwuma ye
wa na me saw ne nsa na me frɛ Adamus. This is a true story na me frɛ owura no cause minimum omo kakra na say abranti mo ma ne nya 1 year bi wa ha na onfa toto ne nyoma ne bebi okoi otomu kra sabe o ka ma me ne papa bo no ayekwa. So the real antidote is job creation. We are not to change politics now. Shene de nyame de same Jemfie besi o na gold board see you and to kwane nsema wo mo kagu yeso. O say Naimosi it's having a wobbly start.
Yeah.
It is not an easy fight. This galamsey until we create jobs as a stopgap measure. Mimi fi Western region and a Miami Krum area hono. Emranchen bebre mutumi tena sine mu bisa nkoma. Enye se bia na ni je ho nti na okọ. Ba okọ dey no nya 2 blades a. Ska obenya no. But the danger and the pitfalls is how do we solve it? Oh, say yeah buy and say nya consensus na any kase mama yen kamom. Now this is not a partisan issue. Say woofy mining area. No be say this is a real issue and kolano and your mope. And I winya kum so kasamna ebano. They are willing to risk their lives. But if you create the jobs, even the same mine, the large scale company, and I'm saying refine or more. So if you go about it properly, you actually demarcate it's a community mining, and you teach them how to restore the land and don't mine around water bodies. Where we are having the problem is mining is not illegal. It is the methodology of the year Jumano and a man illegal. Yes, happen to be a small scale mine. Wako cheska when you analyze near lump woman in so be a illegal mine, and that is why I have a problem because I come from a mining community. So we need to tackle this issue. We have to blame NDC. Yawa bem no the way omo attack ye no so omo tie Akufo Addo ase aye share conference center no e no ma metie ye committee so okay community bia ebe bi na afa ahemfo no yira me wu time and ideas are ne baye fa ahemfo no kakra district bia obeye mining empanifo no mo ani wom no mo ahwe ye dua abe enkrofo efififi wo Australia wo ko omo ye galamsey but they do it properly nti emayen demonize mining because yes I am you mining towns no nice money here because you give large scale miners license. Yes, Mr. What do we have to do as a nation, not as a party? That is where the problem starts. So MPP was NDC for boy yeah. Anka your community mining no kabeye non-partisan NDC for
responsible community mining.
Thank you. Enkanu ye adwuma Emma Dunkwa. There is a good example with Dunkwa. That was Yera Kofo Abreso Bekwana ye dua abe. They reclaimed the land, everything, and then all of a sudden it became a partisan issue. And so in Suya say, who could say in Suya say onim NDC, onim MPP. So I'm very passionate about the process. Emaninye a partisan fight. It should be a national fight. Mining communities, engage the chiefs, engage the CSOs, engage the community leaders, engage the political leaders. Na yenyina no yesu yenfa ye ni enye de ni echire na naimos ne blue water ne it is not the solution. Band-aid keke.
That is a waste of taxpayers' money.
I wouldn't use the word waste. It is an effort, but it is not the solution. Me de be can pay. And no solve it. The solution is this community engagement area ben and amranche no ebetumi aye adwuma and government can tax them na yema mining engineers and share one way jumano so one way there will be some kind of monitoring, evaluation, and then they use proper mining technology, because mining is not a crime. It is the methodology that's criminalizing it. I come from a mining area, so I have to advocate for it, but proper non-partisan consensus mining emma etio nipa no nya adwuma nye wo koye raid wo koye anajo no or how do you solve it unless you engage them, sit them down and properly enroll them in a responsible community mining, even with the secretariat and even help them to get their monies through gold board. It can be done. So we should not criminalize mining. It's the illegality of it in the harding.
Right, who can youth unemployment?
Yes.
And your more yes, way. I say big push what the scale room construction because so you be yakwine and mabuno by extension contractor in your contract no will bet me from mabuno ejumam and then your juma and mabuno here are sustainable. Emma Bruna na
and then governments only pay face engagement contractor no nipa say no bit. We need to industrialize. So I keep going back to Hira Kennedy. We need to industrialize. We born war is from Wa all the way to Bibi Kro Maxim to Elibwa. Every district has 3 unique products you bet me a developer. During Hira, Akufo-Addo Abereso, Ministry of Trade Emma yenum binani ye MPs no eye 333 projects for 1D 1F as anye ye kra district bi abetu aye 3 factories afa nipa 100 oko China no na ama China ye China nipa 20 no mo eye bottle way nipa 7 no mo ye bibi. Why can we do that? I think it's time say you see aye proper organized. We need to break out of some mold, and do something unconventional. Let's get a leader who thinks outside the box. Say Yemfa Mimi constituency 3 in Zima East, yewo bamboo, yewo cocoa, yewo fish, yewo rubber, yewo kube. Just prioritize 3 and set up a factory that will take 100 people. It shouldn't take rocket science. And no, into budget in Bebano Nasanke district empowered. You don't think the district can create these jobs? They be also a trying cry. You need a pragmatic leader. Abranti or yes, Singapore, Kwame Nkrumah Ghana, and Obesia. What to do?
So Canada or Agyapong, and then or they back on board about illegal mining, Galamsia.
Pragmatism. The key word. I'm enter me betchroom. Say, Pempe, Westin, Atumpan, me chromo. Ye baby a juma. Was sa area no na abrantie na wo kwakwa blade 1 2 na only ensanuju maybe they can go through skills training and then they get employed. Meanwhile, say you're mining up as then you'll be trained properly, given the proper document and taxed, so that there will be a monitoring team to watch. But most of them will be empowered by giving them entrepreneurship skills. Obi o onimade ton na dwetri a problem. Ghana you reckon no a businessman. So obey so we business interest 60%, 50%. And he now the so the youth are not a burden. We just need to listen to them and channel their energy into industry. And I remember mikro munkwao in Zima East. Yawapo, it me a fishing business. Yawo rubber, it me a rubber processing. Yawo kube, it me a kube processing. Yawo gold, it me a mining, properly organized, laid out mining. Yawo cocoa, we na yawo bamboo. Kwame Nkrumah si bamboo factory. Zima East. And egu na sisi aye bibi ewo. So it is industry, and not looking at mining as the be it all. And yeah, nunkwana de sabi skabigu abranti botum. So be a way to me HND, HME factory money 9,000. You don't think the person will have a decent life? Now a conscientizing a drink treno. So bema won't condemn no. And how do I I'm saying he's a citizen of this nation. Ebia the what from where be do baby we do ninti and oma and no edisaba. But if you open a factory in Amenfi, if you put a factory in Kasapeng, if you put one in Nzima, these youth, they will work. The same way 50s, 60s, factories are in Yamrantia. So we need a visionary leader who will break himself and herself out of the box. Say Ekrobia, Anya Kraibenya 3 industry. Oh, we are capable. Me follow Nyama Kube. I was embarrassed. kube me di beach no
but
ade kube ye no me kra ma ferry say yetiti krom ha me tu kwan ekoto coconut paste Agana ye betimi aye I you know I was so ashamed. I buy this because me krom ye kube nti na ma fu plain na ma koto kube paste enye wenu
you said say no na Kennedy or Agyapong
his mantra,
but MPP started with 1D 1F.
What happened? Have you ever, I worked with Alan. I worked at AFCFTA. Budgetary support. Na anywhere for anko adwuma obi o existing factory na come from and no na ne nya support kakra ma say budget no ekọ ye say look to say the nuanom this way the big push ye this Kenya supposing we etwam into just in hindsight we could have put in like $1 billion to support industry enka ye ntia. I'm telling you for a fact. Because if you look at the blueprint, if you look at the ideas, and if you look at what the 1D, 1F Secretariat had done, Mimi koye edwuma after ne koya ko se yoso ma obi wo ni capital nya 5,000 se yoso wachi ne nkate ohia packaging keke, and if they put that on a plane to Dubai ye better, but saa sika kakra no oni ena woko microfinance ye beje ne 9 aje ne nsa ye twa ne hwene aka ho nti onkokra, then she becomes a burden to the society. So that is the crux of the matter. Enye IMF, enye World Bank, a homegrown solution of empowering the lower bottom of the society. 5,000 Ghana cedis oba otonwanka obedi nokre ebesi sane shebre anka nyesa wutwetwa na namo, you can squeeze it and put it in a nice and add a straw and it becomes value added.
But critics will say
critics
will say and abanese or the women bank basene be support my
bachaba so na ti radio echi me hu sa ba me your buy there me ko ba me tese out to force in kase we twesika bi atum ba me hu building I say bank ni it is for Ghana enye ye ma me jane dia and enye ndc for nkwande o say women into say me hu say siwa I will make myself an advocate meko akọ pesa besia ni bi e dey aton ade as a testimony, but me hu ye na ade me hu ye no so me ntumi ni hu adanse the make can say e ma ye doso na e ma ni bebre no enterprising genes no e wo mu dada. If you can empower women with little micro scheme to say omo ye bi aye friend no Grameen e wo Bangladesh we e peja wo mo oba betumi akoto kuba nwa kakra 10 gallons no obubu no wenya ni label no odi kodwomu a yebeto sika no odi kofasa ewe hen ena bebre no so don't get twisted. Bebre no so enye se wo de man na biasa bi wakodi e ho no na yeso your problem ne wo no ya ye GE ya ye micro finance ya ye Maslock. And there's been a lot of financial intervention, but social no monetary no a problem. Say we say abansika Sebe, no, or the akota yentoma, no way. Wow. You need to empower yourself financially. Start a business now on fast one. And a auto will do kesi bokra, will be an inside the chan, will store. So I think we have to start at the micro level. Empower the women and the youth. And ranting on whom some Google and say citing. Baby, future lawyers, the doctors. Don't underestimate poultry.
But
a strategy no need mu pay. When you give the chickens, there must be some financial support for the feed, the pen, and the monitoring of vaccines. Into to me mami coco 100 may nyasa support nebewu. So idea no but the whole process needs to be thought through. There has to be a whole unit of menyame chickens no. Where is my feed? And where am I putting the chicken coops? Who is inspecting say infection be emao? We need 1,000 young people with 100 birds. That's almost a year. They will be the next Boris B.
Yeah.
So that concept in itself is good, but concept no, it needs to be expanded strategically. Nanka ya
execution in enya papa.
What a problem kakra no. Bank idea ne there. Don't underestimate the power of poultry business. But what the mama na say feeding kanwa say akukwe neketwa no kre betu atoto awie na ekọ. And it needs to be organized. I just say Bonohene, many we at here. Mimi Wadan for Uganda or started poultry. He's a billionaire now.
Yeah.
This is 2012. Or ye billionaire. Oba Ghana and say, Bejina Kwame Nkrumah statue. I say, picture. I'm saying, hey, I'm not need to Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame, now we then wa. Also, my hatchery. Says, oh, no, Accra a year, creates no. Edema and Crawford, Uganda supply hotels. Right. And he started 10 years ago. School. So time now, we've been oriented by this British. He said now, so but high. And would form yen in cocoa and tickets, bear 10 at church and the workers. Many we but higher. So sometimes you need to come out of your comfort zone and listen to those on the ground. Obi wa oton ade table so. Unya capital bear 10,000 Ghana. Money 2 years. So you serious. Obe korona ye kiosk. Then they graduate from kiosk to a shop. Next thing you know, they have a strip mall. Obia, parable of the talent in the ejuma. Into me say a market kwanya or ye pragmatic or ye business minded. I just say with the politics. Obia what parliament 6 times. Wo nim emrebia ya ye wo ha. Wo nim echire ni nanim. Into our business and political experience. How the bomwa. Obe say Ghana Berlusconi.
Right, ya beba honi adi Hong Kong but quickly my tourism Ghana yen srafe. 1 year.
Yes.
1 year Juma hoping. What assessment here then?
So okay, so 1 year now.
Uja ni saying
yes.
And Uja Kofi no ni saying
very well. Juma no said it no cre edikan. Yen ya breso no me Catherine Barbara and Awal and Mesa 4 ministers in our 8-year period. But nyesa meti we fidie with all humility. Juma midi wo ho any passion am di shame no. Omo mba nyina na sebe na spirit no wo fom. Tourism no budget ni ho na yenuaden and na wankasa wo relationship and your creativity. Answer na ye year of return and 3 billion at the Ghana me was Catherine Afeku. Yeah full circle. And adia me firm one sana. Just when you have a vision, you struggle.
Yeah.
And sana, ubenya nipa mienu bi momaji Nadia from presidency, any Jake. And sana, you between cry, take it off my enega na ye krabesheno. Some of us were crying near free hotels.
Hey.
Because yes, people didn't understand. Tourism is consistent marketing and projecting of your country. There is no budget. May call cabinet defending CNN and say me try Ghana no. Nenye easy. Inti aban bia odisika be share tourism no no. Ubenya ho fa so mo. Omo mba yenya ye ni twa ticket no. Be si na ye ntia ye. So tourism no omo mba wo ho no. So omo enya sa akade no omo enya budget no matter how creative you are no. Ebeko form. And there is a problem. We have an act 817. They took the power of tourism to Ghana Tourism Authority. Into tourism ministry no esiwo and your policy. And then the marketing and sales and all the tourism fund no echo an executive division of the ministry. So the ministry is crippled. You don't have anything. So that then has to be looked at. But almost but the truth is it is still it's still wobbling. They need to be given that kind of support because functions ebe so nti ministry wankwanko ene me buy me see Ghana, eat Ghana, wear Ghana, and we pushed and moved because those are the 3 ethos. If you see Ghana, you spend money at hotels. If you eat Ghana, culinary ebeko, and if you wear Ghana, you are talking about textiles. Into a marketing strategy bia say consistent. Still the yehu say see every government needs to look at that sector service. And your hotels wedding 14 different taxes and one hotel bill, so it needs to change.
But I didn't tell my budget.
It's not prioritized. Any priority sector, energy, education, agric. Meanwhile, tourism, no Spain, finance minister or your appointment and say we share tourism minister because you cannot ever Spain, if you tourism minister. We need to prioritize that. Yera Kennedy or Kasabia or Ghana. May call Benin and say, Benin uses only tourism and cotton to transform a country of 11 million people. Na Ghana, what attributes that we are hospitable, we are warm, we are kind, we are everything. But you emphasica and share sector no me. And because in Srahe
bia hodo a ye wo no ye ntimi ma ne nu standard level be height be a this can be brain
there be I bet that the year war if you take Accra we have 5-star hotels I mean we have Kempinski Mary we have brand names such as a year war but Akandia no we still have challenges with beachfront we have challenges with our taxes. Oko Kenya visa on arrival $50, Tanzania 50, Ghana 200. I mean, it's the same Africa. So you are competing with the same tourist market. Now, we have to look at some of these things. It needs to be a bit more flexible. Ghana, no, Korean is a what attributes are. It keeps us up.
Okay.
Yeah, kase ye di kakra bi twiki nyoma kakra. Then this for they have a chance almost 4 years. Yera president omwa ablajifa. Na womo ensisa sa draconian visa rules no. See Africa for nyina African American market no neso.
Yeah.
Or no ba obeche 200 at the port or Kenya obeche 50. Where do you think they'll go?
And Tobacco Kenya.
Thank you. So we have to bring that down and make the process seamless. Who be visa on arrival just you let aqua immigration anyway you say we need to speak to the airlines to stop it. Nipa no awoba no sabe onye obi aye in jail na oba the average tourist spends almost $4,000 in a 2-week period. It's a nipa 1,000 ba she's kanu ye better anka ye better a pity yato meko akoda hotel afa taxi akohwe movie edidi restaurant. Look, it is an industry that can transform our country, but you have to focus. So Volta region ye nyina ye gitum na ye disika no ekwohye Volta region bibi anyway be ni Volta region wo mo nto maye but sika be fi waba because they have the sea, they have the lake, they have the forest, they have vegetation, they have literate populace into what they 5-star hotels in the resorts and then you add a hotel management training school there. They have waterfalls and monkey sanctuaries. It's a region shakosombo would the cruise to so anya do dina atete apansam no would the cruise to so when you na you reckon the can wo hu cuz we go Dubai yasabe
yeah.
And so look at what is there.
A man for 2 America Dubai.
But if we transform just one region to start. Some me adwuma no nti me kodenu and mostly I was engaging the stars when omo fi wo edem nom na ye no omo ko na chese omo krofo hu omo a say omo ba chese yesu ye kwa you take them to Valley Falls, use your local ambassadors but osisika ye disika minister na wote wono wo pe ensu atokraji so ko ono ani agency GTA. It is wrong. That clause in the act must change.
Right, any party come on. I feel no abeke hu abepacho.
What no?
Hey, AsaasePa 107.3. Aka 45 days. And the crowd in Yamidi Ache ye free moon to the kind of 44 days. 44. Wama dia say the dancer boa obema de pa achi 44 days. So far, conduct of aspirants and to say candidates.
Nyamisi en kan okra me hu from 207 me hu 18 aspirants conduct by far and large who bibia so acrimonious say a contest say be nya sorry into we are salvos in there we be tobacco na nipa mienu bi not the contestants themselves but a chitafo normal sleepy kakra but that can be contained because it is not coming from the actual contender patriotia say in an internal contest Ubenya salvos here and there, but by and large, we have comported ourselves very well. The aspirants are very friendly towards each other. They don't seem to show any because they are very much aware. Say it is one party and it's an internal contest. Whoever gets the nod from their side is the person we are going to target and their policies and programs. Into we know into me from where I sit and I've been through it for a while.
Yeah.
I don't see the salvos being so we attach want to know in time case slip 35 million. But 18 million
attach heading.
Say some of the words could be a bit incendiary. I'm not here to discuss it. By and large, the contest has been smooth. 44 days yake. And it's derailing. You will get one or two people who will slip and Atachi is one of them.
Right, so
but
Atachi
it is not something to derail anybody's campaign.
Of course.
No.
So Atachi say internal politics into me pese be go deep. But what bonidin the oti yantini ye, the oti kokan ye hu asechere. So ka say aspirant to be Kennedy or Agyapong, arrogant.
If I want kasa, me the expletive word, I actually flipped on my television. I heard the expletive word say, Obeka BBC UN. For me, I think that was a bit below the belt. And that's the only thing I've seen from time I call is Legon Park. ABC and by and large, I've not seen or heard any. That is the only thing that to me, and I sat in parliament with him, he's a friend, to me was below the belt. But beyond that, campaign
I didn't hear below the belt.
I don't want to focus on that. Atumpan. Well, I didn't come here to discuss him. Question I'll be say by and large it is saying and a mama assessment to say who grade 100 because MPP aspirants will have 85%.
Okay.
And 15 what made me not give them 100%? This is one of them. But that's all. Beyond that, and say it will be a campaign. But I'm giving you an objective assessment. Obi subeti aka say when we ya odi Yera Brian Echimia madam for a few years by and I say we odi kwabna Agyapong aka bibi. But I am giving you my objective assessment. I don't want to spend energy and time on that. If you were to ask me 85% of my money 15 because we a teacher all mark and one will be 85 over 100 because say na 15 question ben I'm 10 and I'm the mouse say the 5 aspirants they've comported themselves.
Okay.
They are very cool with each other. Obia one decisions and Obia one ideologies. But that is a little blot on the campaign trailer. If you were to ask me from July, be seen there, Adia me Katrina Belema Fikumi who say kakra. But it's a blip and we've moved on. Obia cray refi. Say me when Misa Masa the priority is job creation, industry, getting this nation back on track through the NPP policies and programs. And only priority.
Yeah, remember the policies. So.
There can be any here.
Sir, all tongue will be. Fatamio, all tongue will be. Now, Udini Panechi, now to send Paniri. And Aninia. I can say, as soon as we dear, mean support to no one. It can be said, one who ni pakra rejecting Nana.
And Pacho, also, we are Christian. And I are Muslim. I'm just trying to give you an analogy. You're Christian. Are you a Christian or a Muslim? Or you are an animist? Whichever one. Yesu. Ewo. Bible no more. Nini papa Peter. So it's nothing new. So, I mean, in politics, I'm not even interested in her utterances, what she did. This campaign is focused. Do you understand? Very, very focused on the youth and the women and our brothers who are not having a dignified job. Asan, people are entitled to their opinions, but Mimi Banamaba Asaase Radio and Neno. My mission is to send the signal, say, people are gradually getting connected. Until you say 1 or 2 blips, I wouldn't give airtime to that. No. I am here to tell you we did Greater Accra 11 constituencies, and it was massive. And yeah, atem didie na enye we say
responsibility to
say massive. Me wo ho e wo do and I me wo ho leje kuku and I me call Kroba Ablekuma and I me Central. I think it's Ablekuma Central. I mean Accra constituencies, but I mean Osu your friend who call it. So I participated. Yes, I participated a lot, and we are so grateful. So delegates, this time, they know what is right. It is not about pettiness. It's about what can you do when you are given the mandate. Full stop. Wo you kube, debi na me achire we say me to we ewo UK ma fere kra me krom ye di kube de bia. Na me makofu play na koto we. Na ye wura bejan we kube o se kube ne hunu ye de ye briquette, ne hunu ye de ye we ye de.
I want to come ba ni say
yes.
Ne campaign obehu se wo hwie anwa. Na
practical.
Bi mo bi. Ebe say eh.
Yes.
Na wo bi aso be di mampan na wo sika. Wo say wo do ho no. I want get we na hwie ma.
See, because We are so
walk
used
us
to
through
we are so used to the normal way of campaign. And only na your friend pragmatism. Was say kube yetumi de ye nyoma mako 18 plus. Ebi na me amakɔhwɛ me ami fie say papa na smoke eye no kre kube yetumi de ye toothpaste. Yetumi de ye wenti on kan no te say brofo book mo bebre o de kyerɛw we ye ebro anwa sɔhwɛ ye dua bro wa Ghana ha wukrom wokɔ sampa ye anya cashew ebe ye bro ye be ye ntos enso epro de bia me mehu anka apro e was central region, but we can turn it around and add value. And it is not about Kofi say and Asa Kwame say are there oil na show and tell to say what day next year show and tell what can maize do for mother Ghana and how many people can it employ, period. What can coconut do for Ghana and how many people? Into Wechi November 2023, then you call what district be any region be into the unique product there. Who call cigar tomatoes? But just I say obedient toast. When him say in toast. In toast, I won is I the juice. Ya crabby if you breach a tongue Ghana. In toast pro Ghana. Oka kumadaya. Say the way that I may ya code a pro. We don't have a single huge tomato factory that adds value. Now, dear Yemi, one say, Ebro, Metia Sana minim. I bro a cornflakes. Nyoma equegbe, will be a no paper move grits, any idea full plane abetonwa. So he is actualizing and Nyoma yebitumi with what we have in Ghana, and it's touching because a money be me who oba ofi woman organize office ogakope no adi yam aye powder na yewura air project say look oba say wo sonumu wo buana. You have empowered a whole community because onyane factory kakra obecha fa nipa 5 and I say nipa 10 ye gusu ye kasa no obi ehwe ni demonstration no nya order ewa America,
okay.
African shop. Fantastic. So the politics we have done from 92 abesi no and a GDP and a book and a tie and a coat and a IMF yeah from we are flipping the script. We are saying as Ghanaians, we have product A, banchi, bodie, bayre, cocoa, we. Adane no ayene jumana wusha. To be fair, ye rakofado. Yeah. 1D 1F no. That was the vision. Nesika sabno anko ship. Inti akompre kwa me a businessman. Nyomana make an maye bida. Ena maye politician. Sa combination no. Ye nye bi wagana hada. Ye nye bi wagana hada. Enkroma. And yeah, factories. No, on yet businessman, and on your politician. Or no school crackers and yes of. Enti when you obia beyond 51, aye leader of government business, ye rank kroma besine. Afina for the first time, ye businessman, why your politics are or this are two experience in ebeboom to practicalize a juma biye. Nipa ba ko amisa no meka say ye radako dako farms obegina bi. His vision was to industrialize Ghana, poultry adwuma oye no person de che ba say no ne de no na amemu anche. But Kennedy is a seasoned politician, 6th term member of parliament into BBA ni political arena numa onim or experience and our BBA numa
okay
into obisa no say monfa opportunity we ma me na menye sa combination no na ye ma enuma emra kroma. You can't fault him. He's not going to IMF and he's not going to World Bank. He's going to Bodriase akodua banchin e de abaye factory aye starch aye cassava chips aye cassava flour aye cassava ethanol.
Okay.
Can you find any fault with this kind of campaign? No. And it's giving hope. So about do anka we yembe
right yanhwe ma minim se manya dwuma ya hotoba krom.
Yes, it takes a village
because woba no wodwene na mamfo ho na odwene ne ma ho enti wodidi na onya dwuma ya by extension ne ma ho beto mo.
Yes,
women development and she be na Kennedy wo edema emma wo Ghana
ye ko bebia ni first agenda say emma no womo ukra dwetrema womo they tend to be more magnanimous and very careful. Majority of loan default enyema entire. If you look at the statistics, sa default rate no entire enyama. Obani de na ne se wama ni dwetire. Na interest no insi hu no say ye zero. Even if it's 2%, obetiri de aton wade. Na wenya sa jedie no ewo ni mu se obaya wa so naseni. Obedi dwa no enyamfaso edibi ahwefie. That is the first one, empowering women through financial means. Because most of the women say, "Ono akana sama oheni ba ne ma me no ton wade wodwom ode ne nyoma gu table so wenya ni dwetire kakra e ma bebre e wo sa ahoyehia enum a if you empower them, Ghana will move to another level. Enye bro for some and a befele form way and a kwotwotworo way and a koskani way debi what all den me ton we bro e den na wo hia me hia way e he na wote mete ha je ye be ba be follow up te say dey wa agric extension officers ye be we entrepreneur extension officers ni abehwe ade a wo ye wanye na wo default a on fa nsuma he's not sugarcoating or say mechi watum. And Ghana needs that kind of discipline. You need discipline. You need somebody who's doing politics, not the politics as usual, but politics as unusual.
Okay.
And I have every hope. So Ghana is at that juncture. We need a bold, decisive, disciplined, and pragmatic leader. Time has come.
Right.
Kennedy.
Right, questions where I don't know, you can decide to answer
or not. Article 21, freedom.
Obibaka say Kennedy was in Japan because your name MPP for Nadine Komo. Obibaka say Kennedy was in Japan when your opportunity to serve. Ewo MPP mu. No will say Ewo MPP mu. Ye can crofua or moka ne wumu MPP mu. Untimi Kennedy was in Japan sinche. Sani swadi huning. I didn't tell one fan support to MPP. Brana Mampaina na dotia kunyaso.
There's a time and a season for everything, my dear. So uti hey. Answer ni baby Asaase Radio. Now we dream baby we trim Atumpan. And so bia any emre. There's a time. Read Ecclesiastics. There's a time and a season for everything. So this is not an argument. This question is neither here or there. Time ye wu Yesu no answer ye be wo no na prophet e wo ho aden Isaiah one man me ye agenkwa no. So this question is not here or there. This is his time. Inti wuntumi meka nchem se Katrina wa aden tina enkroma fins mana aden tina wan ko CPP. No, it's a choice. He has decided today to vie for the presidency. No, didn't niswadi hunu edeba.
But not in a vacuum. On a ticket of a political party.
Yes, and what is wrong with that? And a political party, no, say they wanted to contest Akufo-Addo. No, you Akufo-Addo any day we say a vacuum naba. There is an open for a contest, and omubi nominations, and on wakobi pay. He had 37 plus first timer. Inti or wasa ahofama and or what ahihia no, and ankrofo a freno say you bra. So if you say, why didn't you go in 2008? And why didn't you go?
No, I'm not saying that.
No, but you're saying, why didn't he add those thoughts?
Yeah, of course.
And I said, no, that's not here or there. And I said, Sebe, Obia, wedding minister be penalty fairness. I didn't know one can say, say. No, I think that's being unfair to an aspirant. Say the Quebec as a Agyapong or no a spokesperson, Emma presenter, Kofo. I didn't know 207, no, young farmer. Do you understand?
Right.
So right now, the focus is we are going for elections in 44 days.
Okay.
What is your aspirant manifesto? Or no, or say jobs. How is he going to create the jobs? Or say I'm going to use our natural resources and add value. How are you going to do that? I am going to make sure we provide loans with zero interest. How are you going to ensure repayment? Or say, make sure say there's discipline. And we'll send a monitoring team. And a went chia simple.
Finito. Right, Medas, in terms
of we Ghana ni na sa somebody say me ba wo fie te say the Jehovah for eba fie eba church enwom na say me kan we wie me ni obi atem mama obi edin me ni ebi akutia na wo hwem potoma wo tsa bode wa ha o nti ye wura bode den na ebetum de aye bode ho no
ye de be
ye de ye etiri hwie ebi gumi de yesu bode ho no ye de ye patakali bode so you sit back and you're like say me body efue yewra e dey nkwan na offer so me so you be trying large scale you be tumi aboa. So that is what Ghana needs.
Okay.
Enye sebe kofi ehye nika e na adwa ehye space. No, We're no more interested in that kind of politics. It's politics of pettiness.
Okay, 44 days to go.
Yes.
Target group A delegates.
Yes.
But it seems that we're running, critics say, we're running national campaign. And Obefri baby and Sanwako baby.
Yes.
So I didn't.
They are not critics. It's the confidence. It's the confidence and the can-do spirit that Edin and Mami Kancho 2016, any 2010. If you were closer to Yewura Akufo-Addo, he was running a national campaign. Because Uko Foma said Modi Akufo-Addo ba yebetuamano. So he's gotten this vision of the 210,000 people who are delegates, who are mandated to vote on the 31st of January. Now, Emu 60 ebeto. Kennedy, about 60%. So he's already projecting his manifesto to say, some mommy akwenye na me crosses our line we are. We anyway, nyafe na obetrain na wunya and so abetrain the obeyo. You see, when somebody has vision and somebody is cocksure, say confidence no ne sentiment ne fi form ba no. One person want me ti, e den na me babaye, e den na me bembaye. And no, all the aspirants are fine gentlemen, to be sure, and to have it on record. But Yewura Kennedy, when ya atinka bi say delegates no omuye 210,000, they are going to sell him to the 18 million. So it rounds a year kunya wo message say mo kwa mo fa we ko isan so mo no mo aye o mo adwe awie say ye pa obi oba ba ma ye adwuma Yewura Akufo e ma free maternal care ye wo ye Yewura Akufo-Addo ebaye woma free SHS ye koye Yewura Kennedy ba wodi adwuma ebeba na complete trinity no. So it's a very straightforward message. Nsem kekabia ni ena timi akambia ni enti his message is of hope, of confidence, and of pragmatism. Then any edi cashew ebetumi aye e wo sampa.
And then they ebebumi o. Per your own observation.
That's it.
Oh, can I do in Agyapong? Say obe perform better than that of 2023 per your own observation.
Oh, definitely. Say statistics. And you know, ye kwa enye ewiemu conjuring figures. It is the delegates. No, I'm just giving you. Okay. I'm just giving you an example. Say it's not coming out of a vacuum. I say Hano and your brofu station to enemy tree. Maybe you've misrepresented it. Accra. I'm saying. That's the word. It is not coming out of a vacuum. Yeko baby ya ye womu ba beto abano enkran sha womu de man say Yewura ye beto ama. Sabe delegate mu amufiasa o. These are discerning men and women of the party. Womu nimede. We should not underestimate the senses and sensibilities of your delegates. Memakum 5 times. Delegates Ekachiro se mami omukosoro ba from yebeto ama meme ho no yewo the northern sector no is predominantly northern extract into ye ho no the NDC no de oye bia jura wo mafa ena evaluate no yeso MPP yafa into ye luck into that is what you get when a delegate tells you say metwa ma ebe den pa se obesisan wo pafesika boto Fabra, when ya ye nadwin said ne ba we school wati fie Kennedy be man adwuma dia and odi ne kokromoti edi be pia Kennedy na waba abema na adwuma. So there is that level of confidence from the delegates. It is not out of a vacuum. That is where onyan and cransha ne says se mo be pia me dia and you say me mama ni swadi huno no e dedi amamuko na muko kan sempa na wunu bia wa amma na ka chese adwoa baby a yeti ebrosam na wa ha o sa yesi ebrosam kra yetumi de yewe kube kra sa ye de yesam ma program bi anka minim nti we can add value. But look at the national picture. We can add value to our resource and stop importation. The message that we spent 450 million just importing ebro hunioma na ebro odefa bono techiban 1,000 to 100,000 acres of maize plantation.
To be stop is import driven economy no.
Yes, it won't happen overnight. You have to do the groundwork. Winya land no wo ye mechanization wo grow nyoma no. When you are self-sufficient, you can easily stop it. Nigeria, over 200 million people. Meme call ECOWAS Parliament 2012. Elmo bane elmo aye krafi abrochire ene Nigeria yen kramo they eat local rice. 200 million people can do it at 35 million into me. So it takes a leader with that kind of tenacity and vision. Medium, I'm sold. Since I'm here, my starting Miss me adding value product.
And coconut paste.
Say now shall I face away?
My job will come you.
Sister Ghana. Abna.
Mabna.
Me Kokra. Atumpan me be forward sales and marketing director. Yeah, be adding value to cashew now was sampano. And I'm not joking. I've bought the cashew, I've bagged it, and I'm going to put it in the market. I am inspired by the practical leadership style of Kennedy. And no pe. And I mean, what JD would Mr. Ghana, you do sa juncture. You know, every season we are producing leader. So we shift from Kwame Nkrumah to Buzi and Agyapong, ABC Rollins, ABC Ne. So say Ghana, I say a shoe in Crofapa, or yeah, practical, no country.
Ghana need to, you know, because say, what Baba stop is import driven economy. Ye kasa ya no me wo Ghana ye be dan dani ye be dibi nempo
ya export it. Yes.
And no kwani adwuma obeye as president ana.
You can't say that. That's being unfair.
No,
because you've been here like 2 days to roll out all the. I have only an hour, and I me call round. Kakra na mabone tofa edi amount. Because the country has all sorts of issues, challenges. But Meno, I came here to announce to you, say there is hope. Hope, and then say, emebununo, edoson. Say, Ghana, almost 60% below 35. So one saw and one a powder keg. Into the focus and the priority is create job opportunities. When a young man is gainfully employed, pressure no. He will get a house, he will marry, he will procreate, and he will be an active citizen. Into when you're leader, or to me, a society and anwa. Atumpan, Ghana, ebekonenim.
Right. Ababra, you better say. Finally, mammy, for way now, quite. Hey, me better what yes is here.
Cheniakasa.
With or without victory, showdown, beba.
Well, that is
a deep question.
That is a very tricky question. We are in a contest and we are expecting say a fair, rig-free, intimidation-free, NPP internal contest. Into be any sa a dream because maybe a chemukono. Now we had the power. We were in charge of security apparatus, Jubilee House, Kominini, Ofra IGP on the phone, Obefa. You need your opposition. Yeah, for into your internal contest. The concept is Ubia and Ubia. Into Ubia ebe 1 man, 1 vote. Into all we are doing is guarding against rigging, intimidation, basa. After all, you kuya. The obedi ye Muhammadin. And then no ebe contest. We know a internal.
Right.
Into one of the issues behind you.
After 2023. Presidential primaries, more raise concern. I will not say baby or Kennedy in 0, but no more agent war.
Yeah, Bobby no
more agent, no more training agent no agent no one to abana.
Atumpan.
Chuniakasa.
Bonohene.
Oba.
So what's your videos? It's a very good point to say. So what's your videos, Libya? There was intimidation, and it is not hearsay. And no, and I'm you don't want to raise the dead and bring out skeletons. Obijinaho, 95 written. Abesinko, and I'm kasi if you talk one kunia, wouldn't any tour, 1 hour do 37. Inti sa
but you can atone for the mistakes of the past. Well, because agent.
My dear,
I will polling station.
If you hear from those agents what they went through, you will sympathize. But then again, Kaise, I keep emphasizing internal. FDA, so we need to be very cautious.
Okay.
All I'm saying, I said, me a penny, na me bube. Say this election, we will ensure it's rig-free, intimidation-free, BBR-free, and then
more security task.
No, there is an election committee. and they are mandated to do what is right. Sa obi ankoye ni eyimra no yenkoye tagri eyibia ho. There is an election committee, and so far so good. They have been very astute. But quite this year, so you don't need to poke around coffins, dead bodies. Election committee, Joe Weiss or Sewusu, AD enim juma. There is no cause for alarm. And nunti ye kase ye fien tokwa. And sentiment if you for mobano. Bema, it's one man, one vote. Nti Kennedy
Kennedy nantia menim so ben no.
Ose mi chia aspirants ni ya. Ose mi chia aspirants ni ya.
Asa mi sa question no.
Yapon ye di bro ya.
Yewo asem o waka kire say abena ade we die menim say nyame behira me mama belidi. Enka man na menim say anka manye ananka manka wonya nuhu wo
about what
actions and inactions be
no I say we be start here we will be another 2 hours yeah fancy na memma entiase nimre mu say the grassroots wo mo hene and Kennedy hene Agyapong the party a internal contest ntimiti me chair aspirant nyina yewra Duchum, my colleague from Parliament, Yura Brian, my friend from the US and a colleague from Parliament, Yura Hine Agyapong, a Kumpreko, or Nona Sebe, Yenina, Yenidano, Yura Bawumia, our former vice, and
my friend from US, my friend from UK,
my Kwabena Agyapong. Enti yes rem enumina aircon womunyina ye party for
right
and na me pese me massa emphasis anybody and everybody in the party has that choice. People should be allowed that freedom to choose who. Yes, there should be no intimidation,
right.
No cajoling. Na yemfa odone kroye enko yidie ye de ne kwa e form for say on betwama no omubenya tumi efini ho eye Kennedy.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.